Welcome to our channel. Today, we are cracking the code on a medical mystery that affects nearly 80% of the population, yet goes completely unnoticed by standard medical checkups. I'm talking about the magnesium matrix. Joining me is cellular biologist and mineral expert Dr. Magnus. Doctor, we often hear that our blood work looks perfect, yet we feel exhausted, anxious, and twitchy. Why is it that a patient can walk into a clinic with debilitating symptoms of magnesium deficiency, get a blood draw, and be told their levels are completely normal? It feels like gaslighting on a cellular level. What is going on with these routine labs?
It's not just a feeling, it is a systemic blind spot in modern diagnostics. Here's the kicker. Less than 1% of your total body magnesium is actually found in your blood serum. The vast majority, 99%, resides inside your cells, your muscles, and your bone tissue. Your body views serum magnesium as a vital constant. It will do absolutely anything to keep that blood level stable to prevent cardiac arrest. So if your dietary intake drops, your body literally leaches magnesium from your bones and cells to prop up the blood levels. Essentially, a standard serum test is measuring the cash in your wallet while your bank account is overdrawn by millions.
That is a terrifying analogy. So we're walking around with normal blood tests while our internal storage is completely bankrupt. That explains why so many people suffer in silence. If the standard serum test is basically a lie of omission, what should we be asking for? Is there a way to actually peek inside the vault and see what is happening at the cellular level? Because if I'm feeling the fatigue and the brain fog, I need a metric that reflects that reality, not just a homeostatic illusion.
Exactly. You have to bypass the serum entirely. The gold standard that is readily available is the RBC magnesium test. That stands for red blood cell magnesium. This test measures the amount of magnesium actually floating inside the red blood cells, which correlates much better with the levels in your heart and other tissues. Think of it like this. Serum testing checks the highway, but RBC testing checks the parking lots where the work actually happens. When we switch patients to this metric, we often find massive deficiencies in people who were told for years that they were perfectly fine. It changes the entire clinical picture.
That distinction, highway versus parking lot, is brilliant. Now let's pivot to the consequences of this hidden deficiency. One of the biggest complaints I hear is about energy. People are drinking 3 cups of coffee just to function. We know magnesium is involved in biochemistry, but how central is it really to energy production? Is it just a helper nutrient, or is it the main driver? Because if I'm lacking this mineral, no amount of caffeine is going to fix a cellular power outage, right?
Right. Caffeine is just borrowing energy from tomorrow. Magnesium, on the other hand, is the currency itself. Biologically, the energy molecule in your body is ATP, adenosine triphosphate. But here is what most textbooks gloss over. ATP is biologically inactive unless it is bound to a magnesium ion. It exists as an Mg-ATP complex. Without magnesium, you can have all the fuel in the world, but you have no spark plug. You cannot stabilize the ATP molecule, and therefore, you cannot liberate that energy. If you are magnesium deficient, your mitochondria literally cannot churn out energy efficiently, leading to that heavy cellular fatigue.
So we are basically trying to run a high-performance engine without spark plugs. That explains the physical exhaustion. But what about the cravings? I've read that intense cravings for chocolate, which is naturally high in magnesium, are actually a signal from the body screaming for this mineral. Is there truth to that, or is it just an excuse to eat dessert? And how does this tie into blood sugar regulation? It feels like everything connects back to this one mineral.
It is absolutely connected. That chocolate craving is a legitimate physiological cry for help. But the mechanism goes deeper into insulin sensitivity. Magnesium is required for the tyrosine kinase activity of the insulin receptor. Simply put, for insulin to open the door and let glucose into your cells to be used as fuel, magnesium must be present to turn the key. When you are deficient, the door stays locked. Glucose stays in the blood, insulin spikes, and your cells starve, triggering massive sugar cravings.
You end up in a vicious cycle of high blood sugar and low energy, all because that magnesium key is missing.
That is fascinating. It's not a lack of willpower, it's a broken biochemical lock. Let's shift gears to the other side of the energy coin, sleep. We have an epidemic of tired but wired people. They are exhausted all day, but as soon as their head hits the pillow, their brain won't shut off. They are ruminating, anxious, and restless. How does magnesium influence our sleep architecture? Is it just about relaxation, or is there a neurological switch that isn't being flipped?
This is where the neurotransmitter balance comes into play. Think of your brain as having a gas pedal and a brake pedal. The gas pedal is glutamate, which binds to NMDA receptors. That's excitatory. The brake pedal is GABA. Magnesium plays a dual role here. It sits inside the NMDA receptor, blocking it so you aren't constantly stimulated, and it simultaneously facilitates the production of GABA. When you are low on magnesium, the gas pedal gets stuck. You have excessive NMDA activation and low GABA. Physically, you are lying down, but neurologically, you are racing a Ferrari at 100 miles per hour.
That stuck gas pedal analogy perfectly describes anxiety and insomnia. It's not just in your head, it's a chemical imbalance at the receptor site. Now, speaking of racing, let's talk about the heart. We know magnesium is an electrolyte, but its role in cardiovascular health seems to be totally underestimated. I've had friends with heart palpitations, those scary skipped beats, who were told it was just stress. Could that actually be a sign of the magnesium tank running dry?
100%. The heart is the most energy-demanding muscle in the body, and it relies heavily on the calcium-magnesium pump. Here's the rule. Calcium causes muscles to contract. Magnesium causes them to relax. If you don't have enough magnesium to flush calcium out of the cell after a contraction, the heart muscle stays slightly contracted or spasms. This creates arrhythmias, palpitations, and that feeling of a flutter. It's the same mechanism behind an eye twitch or a cough cramp, but happening in your most vital organ. Magnesium is nature's calcium channel blocker.
So, nature's calcium channel blocker. That implies it has a massive impact on blood pressure, too. High blood pressure is a silent killer, and we throw so many pharmaceuticals at it. Are you suggesting that simply rebalancing this mineral could help relax the arterial walls? It seems too simple, yet based on the physiology you just explained regarding muscle relaxation, it makes perfect mechanical sense. The arteries are lined with smooth muscle after all.
It is mechanical sense. Your arteries have a layer of smooth muscle. When that muscle is calcium dominant due to magnesium deficiency, it constricts. This narrows the pipe, forcing the heart to pump harder, raising pressure. When you introduce magnesium, it displaces the calcium. The smooth muscle relaxes, the vessel dilates, this is called vasodilation, and pressure drops naturally. We have studies showing that consistent magnesium supplementation can significantly lower systolic and diastolic pressure. Yet it is rarely the first line of defense in conventional cardiology. It treats the root cause, arterial stiffness.
It's incredible how fundamental this is. We've covered energy, sleep, heart rhythm, and blood pressure. But I have to ask, if this is so critical, why are we all so deficient? Is it just that we aren't eating enough spinach? Or has something fundamentally changed in our environment and food supply? I feel like I eat a pretty healthy diet, yet when I tested my levels, they were suboptimal. What has happened to our food?
The soil isn't what it used to be. Modern industrial farming, monocropping, and the overuse of NPK fertilizers have depleted the soil of trace minerals. A bowl of spinach today has a fraction of the magnesium it had 50 years ago. Furthermore, we treat our water. Water filtration removes impurities, but it also removes natural magnesium. Add to that the fact that stress, sugar, caffeine, and alcohol all aggressively deplete the magnesium you do have. We are consuming less and burning through it faster. It's a perfect storm for deficiency.
So we can't just eat our way out of this, essentially. We are fighting a losing battle with modern agriculture and modern lifestyles. That brings us to supplementation. The supplement aisle is a nightmare. Oxide, citrate, glycinate, threonate. Most people grab the cheapest bottle, take it, get an upset stomach, and quit. Can you guide us through the magnesium maze? Which form actually gets into the brain and the cells without causing a disaster in the bathroom?
Avoid magnesium oxide like the plague. It has a bioavailability of about 4% and is mostly a laxative. For general relaxation and sleep, magnesium glycinate is superior because glycine is a calming amino acid and it's very gentle on the gut. For brain fog and anxiety, magnesium threonate is the only form proven to cross the blood-brain barrier effectively. If you're dealing with constipation, citrate is fine, but for systemic health, glycinate and threonate are the heavy hitters. You want forms that are chelated, bound to an organic molecule your body recognizes.
That is the actionable intel we needed. Glycinate for the body, threonate for the brain, and throw the oxide in the trash. Dr. Magnus, this has been an absolute masterclass. We've uncovered why the labs are wrong, how it controls our sleep and heart, and how to actually fix it. If you could leave our audience with one final thought, or the most immediate step they should take after listening to this, what would it be?
Don't guess, test, but test correctly. Ask your doctor specifically for an RBC magnesium test. If they won't order it, you can order it yourself online. And start listening to your body's subtle signals. That eye twitch, that skipped heartbeat, that inability to unwind, those are whispers before the scream. Magnesium is the conductor of your cellular orchestra. Without it, everything falls out of rhythm. Reclaim that mineral, and you reclaim your peace and your power.